Hello again, I am Blunty. You're seeing some pre-launch promo gameplay and whatnot from the newest action RPG looter, shooter and down, with the servers going live in about 24 hours from this video going up. It's called the First Descendant, and its own blurb will gleefully tell you it's a third-person looter shooter powered by Unreal Engine 5. Become a Descendant. Fight for the survival of humanity, they say. Descendants have unique abilities to tackle solo and co-op missions. Up to 4 players use varied mechanics to defeat giant bosses. So, it's PvE, big tick for me. It's single and multiplayer stuff seems to work kind of like Monster Hunter, actually. And it is, of course, looking all kinds of flashy and dynamic thanks to that Unreal Engine 5 malarkey. And it reminds me of a few other games I liked, or at least really wanted to like. But we'll come back to that sentiment in just a second. It features crossplay and cross-progression across PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, something I earnestly believe should be just standard for all multiplayer, multi-platform releases already. Why isn't it? Come on, you want happy and healthy player bases, don't you? Cross-progression, cross-play, just make it happen. And cherry on top, it is free to play, so the barrier for your curiosity is nothing more than a download away. And as of right now, you can pre-download and install the game so you're ready to go when the servers get popped. And I'm sure it will be a very smooth day one, as things always are for online live service games that rely on server infrastructure. What could possibly go wrong? So, with all of those boxes ticked, I'm sure it will have quite a popular launch. I'm mildly surprised I haven't heard more rumble about it lately. Maybe gamers are getting a bit cynical about this kind of launch. I don't know. It has been 5 years now since we all had our collective gamer hearts broken by the smashed promise of Anthem. And man, I'm still annoyed that that game failed so hard to deliver on its promises. Mechanically, it was awesome fun with that Iron Man power fantasy zip-zirping about unleashing, ballistic doom upon anything in your vision cone. Just a real shame they forgot to make an actual game to go along with the mechanics. Would have been real good if that was a game and not just a really fun tech demo, wouldn't it? And if you're like me, you've bounced off Warframe long ago. I can never put my finger on why. Please don't ask me to try and explain it. I've tried a couple of times. I installed it. I go through the tutorial. I'm just like, And while personally I was quite hopeful about Capcom's Exoprimal, that too let us down with its rather unexpected, tedious banality. I mean, holy hell, how do you make an Iron Man versus mutant dinosaurs game boring? Come on, Capcom, you're better than this. So I'm sure as you've been noticing as I go on a bit here, there's kind of a Destiny feeling in here. The aesthetics of the loot drops even remind me of Borderlands. Hell, some of the stuff going on here reminds me of Phantasy Star Online 2 NGE. Maybe even some Division 2 also, although I never did play much of that. The First Descendant here reminds me of a lot of games, like I said, that I really loved or really at least wanted to love but were let down by, and I'll be awarding it no points for originality or risk-taking because honestly, the nuts and bolts that we can see on show here at least, they all seem pretty standard and designed by committee and pinched from other games, just sort of stapled together in the hopes of, having a compelling live service game. But if you head into it knowing all of that and expecting all of that, that can't actually stop its minute-for-minute gameplay from actually being fun. Just because it's not the first to do any of this stuff, just because it was picking and choosing some fun stuff from other successful games, doesn't mean it's not going to be fun when you do glue it all together. It looks like it might be fun, doesn't it? And that's all I really want out of a pretty mindless looter-shooter type game. Something just fun to doink around with. Some delightful action-packed escapism and grind for my evenings. There's a joke there somewhere about spending my evenings grinding, but I'm not going to make it. I'm too highbrow. It is a hero game. It is from a South Korean game developer, so you've got your fair share of eye candy in here too. I'm sure I've probably put one in the thumbnail because, well, who am I to argue with successful strategies? And all that also means I'll never ever be image searching this game after launch without safe search turned on. Thank you very much, endlessly thirsty and horny fan artists. My God. Have you ever used image search for like Overwatch characters without safe search turned on? Holy moly, come on. In any case, to be honest, my expectations going into the First Descendant here are mild. I'm hopeful it's going to be good, but I'm expecting it to be kind of I'm going to give it a fair go either way. I'm going to judge it on its own merits. I'm hoping for a very pleasant surprise. Nothing would make me happier than to find out this thing is like really, really fun to just to soak into. But it is also from a South Korean game developer, which I mentioned, which, if you've ever taken even a sideways glance at the free-to-play cultures around South Korean-made games, well, that's reason enough to be worried about pay-to-win garbage sneaking in here. Well, not even sneaking in here, just stomping through the door, really. South Koreans have a very different attitude about pay-to-win than Western blokes like me might have, but it is from Nexon, who are... well, they're far from the worst when it comes to that stuff out of South Korea, but they do have a very rocky track record with some of the stuff they've done and continue to do, frankly. They have apparently at least promised never ever to lock any content behind paywalls, so there is that. They will also have paid Battle Pass stuff, Season Pass, whatever kind of stuff going on too. So again, going in with the benefit of the doubt, but expecting it to be at least a little bit sleazy. It can take some time for games like these, with systems like these, to sort of settle down and the player base to figure out what is and what isn't good value and how kind the game is to free-to-play players versus the whales and the dolphins and all that kind of reductive terminology. Now, I've kept a fairly blind eye to this game so far. I've known it's coming, but I haven't sort of watched it slavishly as the various betas and whatnot happened. But I have dropped in on community reactions to that kind of stuff, including some people who played in the recent betas. Apparently lots and lots of stuff has changed since then, and while the beta experience of such things is a wobbly bar for measurement, I have heard at least that a free-to-play player won't be too hard done by, and that you can grind for most everything that is desirable or needed to enjoy the game. How much grind that is yet to be seen, of course. As we know, sometimes that sounds great in theory, on paper. Oh, you can just grind for the stuff you need. It's no problem. You can be a free-to-play player. Just grind for the stuff. And then it turns out in the real world that free player grind is inhumanly absurd. Just ridiculous, clownish, circus grade levels of grind and time to put in to get even the mildest rewards out. So we'll see about that, I suppose. You'll also get the usual paid cosmetics and whatnot, of course, which I'm completely fine with, comparatively, especially in a free-to-play game. That's fine-ish by me. We've yet to see whether they're going to wind up using any of this sort of paid-for stuff or grind towards stuff to unlock characters, but as far as I'm aware of so far, character unlocks work similar to Warframe in that you unlock them by playing through certain missions. Then you have to grind to obtain the materials to basically craft the new characters and whatnot. And as you would expect, each character has their own playstyle, their own special abilities and strength and elemental specialities, everything from tanks and glass cannons and stealth, all the usual stuff. And if all this does work like Warframe, some of these grinding for the materials to unlock certain things is going to be pretty demanding. But I'm actually okay with that too. It's fine to actually, have a demanding grind to work towards unlocking something worthwhile. Just all depends on the balance that's struck there, doesn't it? And of course, with all these different kinds of characters and their elemental stuff and their skills and weaknesses and all of that type of stuff, synergizing with other players, using other characters will offer up some interesting teamwork variety and opportunities. And I'm sure plenty of rage bait with people screaming at, why aren't you doing this? You're playing this character, you should be doing this, and getting unreasonably mad at people who haven't, min-maxed the matter and whatnot yet. And as for customizing your playstyle, it seems they're working somewhere between Warframe and Destiny 2 style system, with a bunch of mods and augments you plug in or slot in to lean towards min-maxing for your personal playstyle and strengths and weaknesses and how you want any given character to play. And whether or not you want to lean towards, DPS or survivability or elementals or, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, there's nothing really that new going on with this game. It's just using all the familiar ingredients to offer up a new presentation of that style of thing. So it's got all the pieces for a promising new hook for those of us on the lookout for a new looter-shooter to soak up some time into, and in my case, something fresh to latch my interest onto for at least a little while. I'm taking a break from Monster Hunter right now while we await more Monster Hunter Wilds reveals. My time in the freshly revived Fallout 76 has waned a bit over the last week or so, after a few hundred new hours plugged into it since a couple of months before the TV show dropped, and I've been floundering a bit for, something to drop in and out of, and this might just fit in that slot. We'll find out soon enough anyway. How about you? Presumably if you've made it all the way to the end here, you're at least curious about this game and are going to give it a go, or at least wait and watch other people give it a go. See you in game, I guess. I'll probably be streaming it this weekend as well, I suppose, so see you there for that. I think I want to be an electric bunny girl. They didn't work very hard on the name of that character. They literally just called her Bunny. But she got a cool design, and she's kind of zerps about Flash style with lightning powers. And, or, you know, maybe I want to be the Juggernaut tank. But he bops about in his heavy armor with shields and smashes into enemies head first, you know. Honestly, I'm leaning towards Bunny Girl first. Bunny Girls are always fun, aren't they? Right? Right. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty. Thank you as always to the patrons scrolling away up above there. And, yeah, let me know what you think. Catch you next time.